As you know, Blender has been making quite a buzz lately and its user base is growing day by day. The sculpting feature in Blender has attracted many users, and the fact that it's free has made a lot of people consider switching to Blender. Because of this, many want to use the VDM brushes they previously used in ZBrush and Blender. However, this isn't an easy task, especially when you want to prepare a brush collection for use in Blender. It can be very time-consuming and exhausting. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can prepare the brushes you have in ZBrush for use in Blender. Additionally, I have some good news for you. We have recently prepared a product in our market called MiM-VDM Brush Maker for Blender. It includes 3 tools that automate this process for you, and in this video, I'll show you how to install and use it. Hi guys, I'm Iman and welcome to MiM. As you can see, I have opened the brush collection in ZBrush. If you like this product, I'll include a link so you can get it if you want. Now, I want to prepare this brush for use in Blender as an example. For this, I need a plane, which I have already created, as you can see. Then from the brush menu, I click on To Mesh. Now, from the texture section, I click on From Mesh. As you can see, this texture is created for me. However, this texture isn't something I can use in Blender because it doesn't give me the result that I want. The problem is the red gradient on the left side of the image. Depending on the type of brush you are using, when you click From Mesh from the texture menu, 3 scenarios can happen. The first one is what you see here, with the red gradient on the left side of the image. The second scenario is a blue gradient at the bottom of the image. And the third scenario is a combination of both, meaning both red and blue gradients appear simultaneously in the image. To fix this problem, you need to use mirror before clicking From Mesh, which you can access from the deformation section here. When you see the red gradient on the left side of the image, you need to mirror the geometry on the default axis, which is the x-axis. For example, I click on mirror and then click From Mesh in the texture section. Now, as you can see, the red gradient has disappeared. Whenever you see the blue gradient at the bottom of your image, you should mirror on the y-axis. Finally, when you see both colors in the image, you need to mirror on both the X and Y axis. Now, in the next step, click on Export from the texture section, type a name for your brush, and save the image in EXR format on your drive. If you need all these brushes for use in Blender, you have to repeat these steps for each brush and save them one by one. For brush collections like this nose VDM brush, which includes 100 brushes, this process can be very time-consuming. Let me show you how we can export these brushes quickly using our script, which I'll link in the description. After downloading the product, extract the MiM-VDM exporter file, copy these 2 files, and paste them into the directory C program files, Maxus ZBrush, your version, Z Startup, and ZPlugs64. Then close and reopen ZBrush. Now, if you go to the brush menu, you can see MiM-VDM exporter at the bottom. Click on it, and you'll find 3 options. Depending on the type of issue with your image, as I explained earlier, you can use the appropriate option. For example, the issue with my image is the red gradient, which means I need to mirror it on the x-axis. Okay, let's do it. I create a plane, press T to go into 3D mode, and then load my desired brush. Now I click on the appropriate option, and I need to select a folder to export my images. Click on Select Folder and choose a name for your brushes. For example, I'll type Nose Brush. And finally, press Enter. It starts exporting each brush and performs all the steps automatically. It's amazing. Now, to use these exported files in Blender, we need to edit the images in Photoshop to avoid errors. I'll open one of the images exported from ZBrush in Photoshop. From the Image menu, go to Adjustments and click on Channel Mixer. In the output channel, set the green channel to 0 and the blue channel to 2000. Then in the blue channel, set the blue channel to 0 and the green to 2000. And finally click OK. Now, this image can be saved and used in Blender without any issues. However, we need to repeat these steps for all the files we exported, which again can be very time-consuming. To automate this process, we can use an action included in our product. To do this, extract the zip file and copy the action file and paste it into C users, your username, app data, rooming, Adobe Photoshop 2024 or your version, presets, and actions. In Photoshop, go to the window and click on Actions. Here you will see the Blender VDM setup action. Click on it, then click on the play button here to apply this process to the currently open file in Photoshop. To apply these changes automatically to all the files exported from ZBrush, go to the File menu, select Automate, and then click on Batch. In the open window, set the Play option to Blender and the Action option to Blender VDM Setup. Ensure that the Suppress File Open option dialogs is checked. Now click on Choose in this section and select the folder where you exported the ZBrush files to apply the changes to those files. Okay, then click on Choose to select the folder where you want to edited files to be saved, and finally click OK. As you can see, the changes are being applied to each file one by one, and the images are being saved. Just wait a bit until this process is completed for all files. Now, these images are fully prepared for use in Blender. Okay, let's move to Blender and see how to use these files. Alright, now press the Tab key to go to Edit mode, right-click and select Subdivide. Click on this Subdivide option and set the number of cuts to 100. Okay. Next, switch to Sculpting mode by clicking on it at the top, and in the Tool section, click on the Add Brush icon and rename your brush. Then go to the Texture section, click on Open, and select the texture you exported from Photoshop. Return to the Tool section, click on Texture, and choose the image you just opened. Set Mapping to Area Plane, and check the Vector Displacement option. Click on Stroke, change the stroke method to Anchored, and set Falloff to Constant. Increase the strength to 1 at the top. Now, if you click and drag on the mesh, you'll see the brush works correctly. If you want, you can click on the icon at the top to choose an icon for your brush. However, you need to repeat this process for each brush again, which can be very time-consuming. But with the VDM Brush Maker, you can automate this process quickly. To do this, first install the add-on. Go to Edit menu, select Preferences, then Add-ons, and click on Install. Choose the MiM-VDM Brush Maker.zip file and click on Install Add-on. While in Sculpting mode, press N, click on the MIM tab, and select the folder you exported from Photoshop. If you have pre-made icons for your brushes, check the Brush icon option and select the folder with your icons. Just make sure the icon names exactly match the brush names or EXR files for them to set correctly. Finally, click on Create VDM Brush. As you can see, all the brushes are created quickly with the setting I showed you. To save the brushes for the future projects, go to the Outliner, click on the Display Mode icon here, and select Blender File. Expand the Brushes section, select all brushes except the ones you just created, right-click, and choose Delete. Then from the File menu, click on Save As, choose a name, and save the scene. To import the brushes into a new Blender scene, go to the File menu, click on Append, select the saved file, navigate to the Brush folder, select all the brushes, and click on Append. Now, in Sculpting mode, you can see and use the appended brushes by clicking on Brush. If you found this video helpful, please follow us, like the video, and share it with your colleagues and friends. Thanks for staying with me until the end. Until the next video, goodbye.